everybody. We're coming to you here live from the Women's Masters in Basel, Switzerland. We're here with Curling Champions Tour coverage of this event, live on Laola TV. And we're already underway here. We've got a special game going on here with the two winners of the A qualifiers. These teams are already qualified for the quarterfinals, and they've got a special skins game going on, and we'll get into the explanation of what a skins game is. My name is Armin Harder. I'm here with Dan Raphael, coach of the Czech national teams, and we're going to be covering this game here between Sigfridsson of Sweden, the silver medalist from the World Championships, silver medalist from the European Championships, against Tirinzoni from Switzerland. And like I said, this is a special game of two A qualifiers, a skins game, and this is for money, this game. 6 ends, that's right. And Dan, you want to take them through explaining skins game? Is fairly simple. Skins game doesn't mean
it's fairly simple. It's six ends. This game will be 6 ends. So it'll be 6 games basically. Every end is a small game, and total score doesn't count. So basically, when you have the hammer, you have to score 2 or more. And if you don't have the hammer, you have to steal to get the skin.
That's right.
And if the person that has the team that has the hammer only scores 1, then we have a carryover. So the amount for that end will carry over to the following end.
And the hammer changes every end automatically. Doesn't matter score or no. So we'll see a very offensive game. We'll see lots of rocks in play. And just to go through first, the first end is worth 100 francs. So the team with the hammer, and that team looks like Sweden. It's got the hammer, is that right? It looks that way, yep. So the Swedish girls have the hammer, Swedish ladies. So they will want to be trying to score 2 points or more, which will give them 100 francs. And the Swiss team will be trying to steal 1. Oh, does the Swiss have a hammer? Hang on. That doesn't look right.
We'll see when we get to the other end.
4, 5 Swiss rocks there, and I only see there are 4.
So pardon our ignorance, but we
we're commentating off the screen here. We don't see the rocks directly. But I believe the Swedes have the hammer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the 4th. Yeah, the Swedes have the hammer. So they'll be trying to score 2 points. And there's one. No. Well, 1, 2.
Scoreboard
3,
says Tirinzoni hammer.
Has the hammer. Okay, so I stand corrected. We know now, and it's correct. So the Swiss ladies will be trying to score 2 points. And the Swedes will want to steal 1 in order to collect the 100 francs in this first end. If nobody makes their points, then that 100 will carry over to the next end. And the next end is worth 200, so that would be 200 plus 100. And we'll keep you
updated as we go along.
Works. Both these teams qualifying directly through the A. There was actually 3 teams that qualified through the A, but because of the draw shot challenge, these 2 teams were closer to the pin after 3 games as opposed to the 3rd team. The 3rd team being Sidorova of Russia.
What they actually did was after the win, after their final win to qualify out of the A, each team through DSC, which was the total. I actually believe it was the total minus the worst. So 4 players got to throw to the pin, measurement was taken, and the two teams with the lowest distance moved into this game.
And I believe Tirinzoni had 30 centimeters. I'm not quite sure what Sigfridsson had. And the Russian team had a lot more. So the Swedes are set up to steal one here. We'll see a lot of rocks in play in this game. As you said, the overall score doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Every end is a new game. It's just all about money here. There's a total of 2,100 francs to collect in this. That's almost 1-to-1 with the Canadian dollar for any.
Pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah.
So for those of you who are wondering why this game is actually being played, I'll go out on a limb, and of course Armin will correct me.
Well, it's a strong limb.
Is because these teams qualified yesterday and will not play a game all day today, going into the playoffs tomorrow. So it gives at least two of the three teams a chance to kind of get a game in and, you know, throw in a bit of money to sweeten the pot.
Yeah, and have a little fun and
entertain the people.
Tommy Lips has taken his Russian team. Will be downstairs practicing all by themselves.
So here we see a lot of rocks in play, but not very many in front of the tee line.
It's a perfect pocket there for the Swedes to. It's kind of like short end curling over the entire distance.
Without alcohol.
Yeah. Tomorrow morning, these two teams will be, along with 6 others, playing in the quarterfinals of this Women's Masters here in Basel, Switzerland. Or actually Arlesheim, Switzerland. Again, once again, it's a small town on the outskirts of Basel.
So we will follow the conclusion of this this end, and we will immediately go to the question that was sent to us in the last webcast, and I will let my cohort attack that question.
So that's looking pretty useful for the. So although you out turn here, you might be able to get those two red ones out. I don't know, is there another rock up front?
There is a guard on the center line,
On the
I
center
believe.
line, yeah. Is there one on the right? Because you might be able to get it around it with the out turn. Just squeeze those two rocks. There's a bit of a hole there at the back.
Wow.
Yeah, just the way she's pointing right now. Tirinzoni needs to make 2 points here to collect the 100 francs. Sigfridsson will try and steal one. If nobody makes any points, then we carry over. That means the 100 francs plus the 200 francs, which is the second end.
So I would have to say that number one goal is for the Swiss team to score 2, but they have to at least score 1, so the skin is not taken by the Swedish team.
And tonight at 8 o'clock, Swiss time, Central European time, we'll be coming to you with a C final. And in that C final, it'll be Team Hasselberg playing against the winners of between Muirhead and Siegrist. So it should be a good game. And tonight, commentary will be Roger Golka, and a special treat, Michael Lips will be joining us. That's not quite what she wanted. She wanted to come off that a little thicker and remove that red one. I think a guard will come up now. We'll see some interesting shots in this game.
And you'll see a lot of run backs too, because the score really doesn't count, the overall score. So, you know, you make it or you break it. So
is she going to put up a guard or freeze right in there?
she,
Might be an idea to freeze right in there, eh? Good.
well, she's thinking of just throwing it up.
If she just puts up a guard, Tirinzoni has an out. Maria Pritz throwing fourth rock, Sigfridsson skipping. These girls lost the final against Muirhead at the European Championships in Moscow last December, and then lost to Miriam at the final of the Worlds in Lethbridge.
So with rocks in play, you're going to see that somewhere, somehow, there's
Looking
a
at the
shot
run
to do
back.
something.
That rock stayed out far enough to take away that draw. You got nothing to lose except the 100 francs. It's possible too there. She hits it right.
We're about to find out.
We will. Marlon Albrecht, new third in this team, holding the broom for Tirinzoni. Marlon Albrecht played with
So the shot here for
Bina Bailey last year.
one is it's a lot easier than it is for two. For two, I think driving the one on center line straight back is, the angle is much better.
And Swiss champion, world junior champion, 1999. Trying to angle that. Oh, nothing there. So the Swedes steal one. Put 100 francs into their account. Taking that first skin. And the hammer will change now. So the Swedes will have the hammer in this end. We're coming to you live with a special skins game here from the Women's Masters in Switzerland, Basel, Switzerland. And it's Curling Champions Tour live on Laola 1 TV. Again, my name is Armin Harder and Dan Raphael, Czech coach. We won't talk about your results this weekend, Dan.
Okay, if you want.
We've had 2 tough weekends here in Basel, but lots of potential. I'm sure they'll do better the next one. So now we're playing in this end, and we see Swiss teams starting. And now this end is worth 200 francs. I'll make sure I write these things down so I can keep track of the numbers. Because my memory is great, it's just short.
So for those of you who might be interested during this webcast, 6-end skins game, I've done a little bit of research.
Oh,
and
no.
Yes,
You did.
I'm actually honing my skills on my second career.
I'm impressed.
And I've actually went around to a few of the associations that are here and tried to figure out how many of the national teams were actually here this weekend and which teams will be representing each country at the upcoming European Championships and what method they will use to choose those teams.
Okay.
So if you want, we can start with the Czech Republic, which is my domain at this point. So basically the Czech team that was here this weekend is 3/5 of the team that will be at the European Championships. Of course, we will be adding Anna Kubeskova and Teresa Pliskova.
So you're already committing your team at this time, are you? Is that an
I
announcement?
am. That's actually done deal.
Okay.
So this team, unfortunately, had already entered a tournament in Bern this weekend. So we came here with an alternate. So we're still on lead stones here. So pretty well, according to my calculations, 9 of the 10 teams that will be at the European Championships in Karlstad in December were here this weekend.
Already selected and ready to go.
Not already selected, but they were here. What I mean by that is there's some countries.
Are you talking countries now, not teams?
Well, associations would represent it.
Uh-huh,
So basically, if you take, I'll take the next one, which is Sweden, according to Peja Lindholm, who is the national coach. They will have a choice, so to speak. So before December, I believe Peja said November, the choice will come down to, according to merit points and other formulas that he will devise, will be between this team that we are presently looking at and the team of Annette Nordberg, who played on the previous webcast. So that's for Sweden. So obviously one of those two teams will be in Karlstad.
A little surprise here. The Swedes are just playing takeouts. They're not mixing it up like the Swiss did. It's kind of a interesting tactic for a skins game. Usually you see the teams mixing it up a bit like we saw in the first end.
Maybe they know something we don't.
Maybe, I don't know. Esther Neuenschwander, she's been with this team for a long time.
And of course the ice conditions are very conducive to a good skins game. I mean, there's nothing worse than playing a skins game with straight ice.
Yeah, no, it's not fun.
All right, so moving right along. So if we move on to Denmark, apparently they are in the middle. The team that was here this weekend was the team of Madeleine Dupont, and she is involved with 4 other teams that are playing a double round robin, of which they have already played half. So they are still in mid-selection. The team from Finland that was here, and if I'm not mistaken, are still in the tournament.
Yes, they are playing in the...
This will be the team from Finland that will be playing in the A group this year, as Finland and Hungary will be moving up this year to the A group from the B group.
So we'll continue that throughout the game. We'll be informing you what's happening there. We see the Swedes finally made a break here. I'm going to go to Martin here and ask him quickly to present the two teams, if that's possible. And here we go. Margareta Sigfridsson playing lead. And they did win the gold at the European Championships in 2010 in Champery. And Maria Wennerström. I don't know who Anders Bagge is. We know who Peter Forsberg is. Christina Bertram, obviously a hockey fan. Two-time European champion. And Maria Fritz, who plays the fourth rocks. Ibramovic, obviously a football player. Second at the World Championships in Lethbridge. Playing for Sweden. And here we have the Swiss team. Sandra Gantenbein playing lead. Been on this team for 2-3 years now. Esther Neuenschwander. Obviously a lot of Swiss, obviously idolizing Roger Federer, which is understandable. Roger was losing, I think, the first set. Lost the first set, playing right now. Marlene Albrecht, new to this team. Kind of played with Bina Bailey-Felcher last year, and this team and Flimstream traded thirds. Silvana Tirinzoni deciding to take a political figure as an idol as opposed to a sports figure.
Occupation
Two-time curler. Nice. And Brian Schick, new as coach this year. Tirinzoni, two-time Swiss champion and World Junior champion in 1999. So we'll get back to the game here. Marlene Albrecht, left-hander.
Of course, probably one of the reasons that they play only 6 ends is 6 ends in skins is probably as long time-wise as 8 ends of regular curling. A lot of rocks in play, a lot of discussion, not much takeout.
Nice rock played there. Swiss team obviously want to make sure the Swedes don't score 2. So how much that curled.
Eller öppna och liksom försöka göra en dubbel och få räkna in den där, men det känns kanske lite sent.
So you were at Finland.
70. Plockade 80 på henne.
Yes, so moving right along.
Let's do one more country before we finish this end off.
Okay, and then we have Germany. Germany, if I remember correctly, are also playing a challenge. But I believe on the women's side is decided, so it will be Andrea who will represent Germany.
Andrea dominated German curling for many, many years.
If you want, you can go on their website and check out their merit points, and you will see that she is almost double the points of the second place team. Of course, Andrea traveling and playing a lot of events, so having more of a chance of collecting those points.
So Tirinzoni trying to figure out how to get her shot rock into a position, or what you try and do here is set up yourself for a shot at some point. A lot of it tactics.
Okay.
You don't try to get shot too early, you just try and set yourself up to move into a kill position a little later.
And hopefully you usually give yourself more than one out if you can, because if you've only got one out and they block it either with a guard or a come around, then you're usually in a lot of trouble.
you're just joining us, we're having a special skins game here. 2A qualifiers. These two teams don't have a game today, a regular game. They qualified last night or yesterday afternoon for the quarterfinals. So they've set up, this is an annual or regular thing. The two best teams will play for a little cash. 6 ends. We'll go through the rules again, maybe in a third end, just to remind you. Fairly simple, actually, with a hammer. Try and score 2. If you don't have the hammer, you try and steal 1. And the hammer changes every end, regardless of what was scored. And in this end, we're playing for 200 francs, 100 francs in the first end going to the Swedish team.
What you'll see a lot of times too is there's so many rocks in play that they actually make it more complicated than they're actually keep up with. You know, they suddenly look down, they go, okay,
What
well,
do we do now?
yeah,
Well, it is
did we
complicated.
mean to do that?
You get a lot of granite. You got to really be careful. You got to really think 2-3 shots ahead. What we do have in this end, as opposed to what we had in the last end, is we have a lot more rocks in front of the tee line. Last end, they were all behind the tee line, or quite a few more. So it makes this end a lot more interesting now.
So the shot that they're actually looking at, oh, now they're looking at something else, but one of the shots they're looking at is to hit the red on the right-hand side onto the, or across, off the yellow behind the forefoot and back up the sheet. Now, that takes a lot of precision and usually a lot of speed.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're throwing. We'll see what happens. Obviously, if they make this shot, then it'll be really difficult to get out because there are basically 4 staggered stones out in front.
Maria Fritz. I don't think it's her last rock, it's her first rock.
So sweeping,
Sweden has the hammer.
sweeping right out of her hand.
Gets the roll. It's good enough to
Basically
lie for
made,
2.
yeah, basically made it straight out as opposed to with the double. The problem with these shots, whether you're playing an in-off or in-off 2 stones, is you usually only get 1 shot at it. Because once that stone is gone, you're not going to see it again.
So Tirinzoni needs to get some rock into a position here to make sure that Sweden doesn't make 2. That's her last rock. So yellow has last rock now. That red one can probably be removed fairly easily. But I think that gives Sweden's a simple draw down to the top of her own.
So essentially it's...
Maybe we can listen to a little what they're saying. Oh, it's the Swedes talking. You can hear the Swiss talking. You might be able to translate what they're saying.
No, it's because the Swiss are not talking. They're about to throw.
All right.
So basically in this type of game, the skins game, more so than the regular game, you really have to be careful because it's not so much the shot you make, it's what are you leaving.
Now, is she just trying to drive that yellow one back onto the red one?
Well, she was looking at the easy shot, which is basically to hit her yellow onto the yellow and remove the red. But they were just making sure that there's actually no shot at 2 after. So they got to leave that
Might
yellow.
get both. Nope.
No.
That
So
leaves a fairly simple draw.
had to hit it a lot thinner.
Yeah, a lot thinner than that. Or a lot thicker.
Or the other way
Yeah,
around,
a
yeah.
lot thicker because
Själva curlen då, men
you can curl a little more. Now the Swedes can just draw down into the forefoot and collect their another 200 francs.
bet i stort sett stora.
Jag tror ändå det är bra fart, va? Ja. Vi har ju lite rygg.
And I think for these teams, they're a lot happier
Ja.
playing
Har jag
than
is på rygg?
having money,
Ja,
which
gud,
is a
ja,
sad
ni
thing to
kan
say.
Well,
but
I mean the big games
just,
obviously tomorrow morning,
exactly.
Tänker på
playoff
curlen,
games.
så finns
You know, this is a good traiing for them. They get to be out on the ice. They get to throw some stones.
Jag har lite
And
till.
it doesn't really affect their the outcome of the tournament. So.
First place in the women's masters is 10,000 francs. Second place, 7,000. So pretty good cash prize to win tomorrow. And some of these teams are playing for a lot of points with their own ranking and their own qualifying system.
Igenom! Kan vi hålla?
We can go through a little bit of that.
Igenom!
This rock is hanging out there. It looks a little warm. She doesn't want to remove her own. That's good enough. So, just got lucky that curled up enough there. 2 points for the Swedes. So that means they collect the 200 francs in the second end, giving them a grand total after 2 ends of play of 300 francs to 0.
It's starting to look very much like last year's game.
Was it a one-sided one too, was it?
So
Is that,
I wouldn't be counting my cash too fast.
don't count your cash too fast. So this third end is now worth 300. So, and Tirinzoni has a hammer, so she could actually even out this game with one end. Well, we got a little history here. Last year, Miriam Ott played against Sigfridsson. Sigfridsson took the first 3 skins, giving her a total of 6-0, and then Ott took the last. No, then there was two carryovers, and Ott took the 6th one and scored 1,500 francs to 600.
So basically, Miriam
Got her.
Ott
She won
won
the right
one
ones.
skin, and
It's better to win the second half of this game than the first
Exactly.
half. So yes, each end, the value goes up 100 francs. So it's 100 in the first, 200 in the second, 300 in the third, 400 in the fifth, 500 and 600 francs for the last skin in the 6th end. So now the Swiss have the hammer. And Swiss. Swiss are actually playing, our graphic isn't quite correct there. Swiss are actually playing yellow rocks. And the Swedes are playing red rocks. So, give me another country, Dan, quickly.
actually I can do 2 countries rather quickly.
All right.
So we've got the Hungarians and the Italians. The 2 teams that were here will be the teams representing their countries at the Europeans in December. Going down to Norway, of course, Norway, one of the teams going down to the B. As I mentioned earlier, Finland and Hungary moving from the B to the A. So Norway was one of the teams relegated. Russia, as far as we know, unless something happens, the team of Anna Sidorova will be the Russian team to look out for. Of course, the 2 other teams they have here are quite talented.
They've already selected their, I guess that's their national team. We just saw Sigfridsson playing there. She's playing lead rocks and skipping.
moving down to Scotland, I have been informed that there is a challenge between Eve Muirhead and Gail Monroe. Now, this, according to the 1-2 finish in the Scottish Championships last season.
Okay.
So those teams will play. I didn't do a very good job writing my notes, but I would assume it's some kind of a best of.
Swiss were trying to freeze that yellow rock on top of that red. It just overcurled quite a bit.
So we've pretty well covered every single country that will be in the A except one.
I don't think you talked about the Swiss, did you?
No, we left that for last.
We won't tell you anything about how that's happening.
Yeah, it's okay. I already got the
Oh,
information.
do you?
Yes.
It's top secret. Well, the Swiss in 2 weeks will be playing their European qualifiers, and there will be, in the women's side, 3 teams playing on because of their Swiss curling ranking system. Swiss curling ranking system, kind of like the Canadian CTRS Tour, based on wins, points collected at these Champions Tour, World Curling Tour events, and also at their own championships. So 3 teams, the top 3 teams, go into a qualifier for the Europeans, and that'll be Ott, Tirinzoni, and Yaki. And they'll be playing that qualifiers starting next Tuesday. Next Wednesday. Saturday, so the European team will be selected by the end of next weekend.
And this will be the first time in how many years that Binia Felcher will not be involved.
Possible.
Spinning.
Just touching that rock. Not quite working out for the Swiss here at the moment.
So now you all are all informed on the countries that will represent their associations in December in Karlstad in the A pool.
I think the Swiss competition will be quite interesting. There's 3 very strong women's teams playing in that.
So it's quite fierce.
The way it should.
For those of you who are not familiar, I know a lot of Canadians tend to focus a lot on the Brier and the Scott Tournament of Hearts, but I know my first time at the Europeans in Champery 3 years ago.
Was that your first Europeans?
First and hopefully last in the B section.
The B
Had
hole
to
is
be.
always very cold.
Yes. But it's quite a spectacle. I mean, you know, we have a lot of teams that play to get to the Brier or to the Scott Tournament of Hearts, but
So, sorry, Tirinzoni
Okay.
trying to remove that red rock there, trying to get around that with a small tap.
a small tap back.
So
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people think, you know, there's a lot of teams that play down and whatnot, and once you get there, you have pretty well some of the best teams in the country, but you have to figure there's... Watch the rest of this shot here. They have to get by that front guard,
Speaker's working it.
and they're
Gets past 2 guards, looking pretty good.
it almost looked like it actually
Wow.
rubbed.
Yeah.
Quite the shot, actually,
Esther Noyen Schwander.
because she was able to roll up nicely.
Fairly open though.
So again, for those of you who are not familiar with the European Championships, it's really it's a spectacle. It's something to see, because it's hard to believe, but they actually have a C section in the Europeans now, and more teams in the C.
Some very exotic teams
Yeah.
playing in the European Championships.
But you know, everybody's got their chance,
Turkey
and
and
you know, you can literally move
Croatia,
from
Serbia.
the C to the B and go to the Worlds in 1 year. Technically.
That's right. You
Now,
can win
whether
the
you can
Europeans.
do it or not, that's another story. So again, for those who don't know the system here, if you do start in the C, you can win the C in October, I believe. It's played at the same time as the European mix.
That was just last weekend. I don't know. We can maybe check in to see who that.
Maybe check to see who's moving up to the B. And those teams who move up will play in the B. And if they happen to be the top team in the B, they can challenge in the World Challenge game the lowest ranked
7th place team.
Yeah.
Just top 7 teams out of the Europeans qualify.
So the lowest ranked A team that is going to the Worlds.
Of course, qualifying for the Worlds ever so important because that's the way you qualify to go to the Olympics.
That's correct.
Qualifier. So fierce competition at the Europeans. A lot of these teams getting better and better every year. Traditionally, it was Switzerland, Scotland, Sweden. So we got a
nice
double here.
Done.
And it rolls up a little bit. Swiss
sheet
still laying with 2. Remember, the Swiss need to score 2 points in this end to get the skin. Swiss have the hammer. The skin worth 300 francs. Franc being worth about the same as a Canadian dollar. We're here from the Women's Masters Curling Champions Tour event in Arlesheim, Switzerland. Last weekend we were in the same club, played the Swiss Cup men's. Now this was just a little bit heavy. Needed to curl a little more to get past that guard. After this end, once this end is over, we'll take a look at the other scores, see what's happening there. We do have some important games going on out there.
Of course, now that we're this late in the draw, the game's all being played in the top level, the 5 sheets upstairs.
Well, so far qualified for the quarterfinals tomorrow. Sidorova, the other A qualifier. Russia and Sigfridsson, and of course Tirinzoni qualified directly out of the A without a loss. Qualifying out of the B, Sarkova this afternoon against another Russian team, qualified for the quarterfinals. Took pretty good care of Hasselberg, 8-2. Olga Sarkova, and Felcher lost the Vevers of Scotland 1-5-4 against Felcher, qualifying out of the B. So there are 5 teams qualified already. So the rest, they're all C games going on right now. And there's some big teams in that C group, and we'll take a look at that shortly.
So Tirinzoni with the hammer having to score 2 here. The idea on this shot was to just freeze, but it was a little heavy.
Yeah, she was heavy with her first one too. That's why she wrecked on the guard. Sigfridsson doesn't want to give up 2, would preferably steal one. A steal of 1 would collect that cash prize in this end also. And I think in the next end we'll take a look at it. Had a couple of questions there. I think we had one from Hans Niemann up in Leksand, Sweden. We'll have to answer that one. So with the ice she's taking here, looks like she just wants to tap this back, sit in front of it, obviously trying to steal. Maria Pritz throwing fourth rocks.
So Sweden will try everything possible to force a carryover or steal one.
So Sweden laying one and first and third, I believe.
Third, I think.
Swiss rock on the left-hand side, his second shot. If they roll, they may jam. Swiss front end looking on. Sander Guntbein, Esther Neuenschwander. The Swiss team, very good tour season last year. Played the Players' Championship final in Prince Edward Island, Summerside, I think. Players' Championship final last year.
Sweeper's jumping that quite quickly, but they recovered enough to hit this right on the nose.
Should have swept that maybe. They might have got a useful roll.
No, they had asked for a nose hit.
Yeah, that's what you wanted, but the roll was there.
Dubbeln.
Jag skulle vilja gå för dubbeln, ja, faktiskt.
Det är nästan dubbelvikt du ligger
Ja,
för.
precis. En liten
Jag
vikt.
tror att du kan komma med en
Sweden in a position to double is up, probably.
30.
Tänker vi att vi ska skava ut den här lite?
Gets a little roll, and she can't do that.
Gillar dubbeln, ja. Jag gillar dubbeln,
tror jag
ja.
också kan
40
funka.
kanske vi måste chansa på. Har vi. Det är väldigt lite vi behöver flytta på.
Grejen är, även om vi chappar då
Vill du
inte på
spela
dubbeln,
40?
så kan inte de chappa den för 2. Var ska de dra då? Liksom? Ja, i och för sig.
So we'll let this end come to a conclusion, and I will pose you the question.
It'll be a quiet hit
Ligger
here.
det som, tror vi.
You want to get to the face of that. Maybe roll to the inside and make sure she
Den här vicken!
either doubles them out or counts it out.
Vi sitter och tittar på dubbeln.
I don't think she wants to set anything up so that they can get at the
40 då!
stone that's in the back 8.
Yeah, that back, Switzerland sitting with 2. Tirinzoni sitting with 2.
Det tror jag inte går. Det curlar inte så mycket. Jo, men Ninas clearing curlar ju. Jo, men jag kan
3 Swiss teams in this competition.
Titta på den, men
And 3 Swedes, I believe.
då chappar vi bara. Vad ska de?
Sigfridsson, yeah, of course, Annette Norberg
And you can
already
see
being eliminated.
just how competitive these teams are. I mean, this is basically a practice game with a little bit of cash involved. And they just want to make every single shot.
Hate to lose anything.
Rent! 20! Rent! Nej! Rent!
Den här där snart.
När kommer att curla
Nej.
jättemycket?
Ja! 20! Ja! Ja! Nej!
Looking pretty good.
Ja!
Chris jams. Is it rolling up?
Lite till!
Looks like it has. Well, yes, it has. I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because top red.
We can get another shot at the top there. I think Swede's sitting with 2. So Tirinzoni will want to draw to the 4 foot. Yeah, yes, definitely. Swede's laying with 2. So the only thing Tirinzoni can do is draw to the 4 foot, make sure that the skin carries over into the next end. So nobody wins that skin. Team basically out of the Zurich area, except for
Richtig is
Guntenbein.
goed.
She's more towards Bern.
Scott 50. Richtig is goed. Nur länge. Einfach besser 4, hè?
Ja,
Dat is
hat
goed. Zij
Kinda
slaan,
slow
oder?
down.
Well, they do have a bit of backing there, but they don't want to go past it.
Does it
And
hang on? I
Looks
think.
like a steal to me.
Well,
They have to be looking at that top one, not the back one.
Sorry, godt slutt. Vill du kolla, Maria? Nej, det ser ut som guld.
Might have a measure here.
yeah. That's the top red one
I
and
think
the
it's the top red
the
one.
yellow
but
one that we're looking at just slid a little too far.
But I think the important thing here was maybe just a little bit of lack of communication again. If the sweepers tell the tee head that
It's a little long. They
It's a
might
little
sweep
long,
it,
they-
keep it straight onto
Yeah.
the back one. Yeah.
because they would have lost it anyway.
Ik loop precies.
So we're gonna have a measure here.
Gauw is het.
What do you think?
Perfect.
It looks
Deze
yellow.
schießen.
And I'll go with
Mooi.
red, just to be different.
Precies, hebben we gehoord, Zwijnen.
Ja.
An alcoholic beverage after the game. A nice cold one.
Now, as you see,
Jag undrar om jag ska spela
the
dina.
difference between this measure and the measure this afternoon, where every player on the sheet was taking a look at the stones, here everybody just walked away.
Nej, inte alls. Det första kollar ju
They
inte
said, "We'll let the umpire do his work."
och den andra stack så. Din första
Might
fick
be
ju dra
red.
järnet.
It's pretty close. That's why they're measuring it.
Ja, inte
I
alls.
can't remember the last time I was wrong, Armin.
Oh, give me a break. Not the last time we did this. I think you were wrong.
Ja, vi kan göra så bara. Absolut.
I don't know where they have to go. The measuring stick. They have to go to Zurich to get a measuring stick here.
I think it's more of where's the umpire?
Well, they can measure themselves. They
Yeah.
don't need an umpire for this.
There we go.
But there he is, Guido Carcivio. We saw him last week. He's more involved with the Swiss Cup,
Umpire extraordinaire.
but he's also the chief umpire. Last 2 Swiss championships. So
Don't break the measure. Oh! We have
what
seen
did you just say,
history.
Dan? What did you say?
We have seen history.
I think you were wrong the last time too. Give me a break.
Yeah,
So Tirinzoni,
I would ask for a remeasure.
by taking that one, will force the carryover.
Och så gjorde de jättefin i porten. Ja.
That means the 300 francs that were available in the third end now gets added to the 400 francs in the fourth end, which means this end's worth 700 francs. Boy,
We're talking steak, dinner, and
we
wine.
could buy,
Det läget. Om vi hade lika bakom konen, då hade vi
wouldn't need to buy Al any cheap wine the next time. We could buy him a little bit more. Of course, we don't get any of this, so unfortunately, the girls don't share with us. We get peanuts for what we do, or even less. So, we're here live from the Curling Champions Tour Women's Masters in Basel.
And as promised,
2A winners, qualifiers, playing a skins game against each other. Just quickly review the rules. If you got the hammer, you want to make 2 points to collect the skin. Skin being money, of course. And if you don't have the hammer, you got a steal to collect. And as we saw in the last end, Tirinzoni only made 1 point with the hammer, which means that forced the carryover. And now this end is worth the 400 plus the 300 from the third end. 700 francs riding on this end.
70 skulle jag tro.
so since you're an expert in the matter, we will pose you the question that was sent to us.
Expert me?
Or expert in something.
Sounded good. All right.
So the question being, what's your opinion about a suitable width of a modern curling sheet, taking the modern big swing into consideration?
Lite
should you still? Oh, well, I guess it's a two-part question. So we'll start with that
I
one.
know Hans, he always asks complicated questions.
So you're saying it's just one big long question?
Oh.
So, what's your opinion about a suitable width of a modern curling
Well,
sheet?
obviously we do have greetings to Leksand. Beautiful spot up in Sweden, in there. The sheets we have here with the account curl we have they're about 475, 4 meters 75. What's that? That's you're Canadian too, right? Yeah, we only work in meters. We don't work in feet anymore. They're 475, and the sheets at the World Championships are 5 meters, I believe. So with the big curl, the thing is, if you have a corner guard, trying it around from the outside. With a big swing, you're almost hitting the sidelines if you're trying to go out there, and with the wider sheets will allow come around from the outside, where these narrower sheets will reduce that option. I believe the wider sheets are better for that. The wider sheets do pose problems with ice making. Your ice makers, when you're pedaling, you need to swing fairly wide. Means they got to walk slower. Swing wide. If you have wide sheets and you're pedaling too narrow, you end up falling off on the 12-foot.
But that was a discussion that we've had in the past about the water sheet and coming around from the outside. The problem you get into is that's normally where the inconsistencies are, on the outsides of the sheets. It's where the players walk. It's where the frost starts to creep in. So, you know, you're probably only going to get it for a short period of time.
It does pose. It does make that running out there is far more difficult. And if you really need to place a rock, you may not select that way, unless you have no other option, I guess.
So, I hope that answers his question. If not, I'm sure he's going to write back.
That was a question from the last game, so maybe he's not even watching anymore. We hope you are, and we hope everyone else is enjoying this game. Can we take a look at the scores on the other sheets, please, Martin? Martin Stuckey, our technician, director extraordinaire. Okay, we'll start on sheet 1, I believe. Yes, this is sheet 1, and we have Fleming, Scotland, and these are all C games, so loser out. Fleming from Scotland against Malmi, Finland, which is, it looks like 2 steals in a row here, giving them a 3-0 lead after 3. Andreas Schopp, also in the C. She won this event 2 years ago, obviously former world champion. She's playing against Gertov, a Russian team. And Schopp leading 3-1 after 3 ends of play. This is our special skins game. Sigfridsson against Tirinzoni. Sigfridsson up 300 francs to 1. There we have a big Swiss duel. Miriam Ott, world champion, playing against Michel Yaki from Bern. That's 2-1. That's going to be an interesting game to follow. And we have another Swiss team, and they look like they're not having a great time against Eve Muirhead, Scotland.
But I first saw this this young skip 2 years ago, 2 years ago.
Which one's that?
I was quite impressed.
Which one's that?
Manuela Sigfrids.
Yep.
I think she's going to be one of the good players for years to come.
Well, we certainly have a good, solid 4 or 5 women's teams. Obviously, there's Bina still around. Pretty good team.
Good shot there. Run back. Got out the 2 Yellowstones.
Was that Eriksson out there? Was that Sigfridsson out there? So last weekend we had the pleasure of seeing Eriksson team making lots of those, winning the Swiss Cup against Sven Michel.
So the bonus here was that the run back was made, double, and rolled away from the center line.
The Swiss, they're trying to steal. Swedes have the hammer. 700 francs
on the line.
On the line. This end.
So looking at the scoreboard, don't let the points fool you. It's not 2-0. It's 2 skins to none.
If you have any questions, we're certainly more than happy to take them. Any comments? Positive, negative, or otherwise?
Eller skjut. Jag tycker delningen är bra. Jag tycker skjuten. Vad sa du? Jag tycker delningen är bra.
Maybe we can get that email address up.
Det beror på hur de spelar i och för sig. De spelar på gardarna eller om de
Nice
spelar
draw there. Here we go. Live curlingchampionstour.org.
Och du får in en bakom.
Dan and I will be more than happy to take your questions. Hopefully we can answer them. Don't make them too tough.
It's been a long day already.
Not over yet.
Especially for Armin.
Yeah, early morning again. We'll have one more draw tonight at 8 o'clock Central European time. And that'll be Hasselberg waiting for the winner of Muirhead Seagrass. The Muirhead being up 5-1 is certainly in the driver's seat. Live at curlingchampionstour.org. Questions, comments, let us know where you're watching from. Lola One TV, worldwide coverage for free, curling for free. No geo-blocking, available in every country around the world. And we do have, we've had, I believe I looked at the charts from last week, there's like 50 or 50 some countries are looking in. It looks like it's gonna wreck.
They're
She's got
actually
a split though.
They wanted to open it up
Split is
and
pretty
split
useful.
the 2 stones in at the same time.
Remember, the Swedes need to make 2 to collect the 700.
So now, bit of a decision to make. Do you guard or do you hit?
Tirinzoni way into the quarterfinals and into this game. Tirinzoni beat Gaspari 6-4 in the first game. Then she beat Annette Norberg 4-3 in the second. And then 5-3 against Manuela Siegrist in the A final. And Sigfridsson Sakaris from Hungary, 10-3 in the first game. Then Fleming, Scotland, she beat 6-5 in the second. And then she beat Andrea Schopp 5-1 in the A final.
A little bit of concern on the player's face there, but I think they're okay.
Yeah, line looks pretty good. Nicely covered.
It's almost a perfect guard. Didn't leave a hole.
Yeah.
Guarded the correct side.
We just seen that Swedish team do a run back, so
Well, you know, if you're going to peel anyway, you might as well just play the run back. And
for running your own rocks back. But
yeah.
So I don't think you have much of a choice here. Lots of good teams in this event. Current European, current world, current Olympic champions.
So it looks like the line is no, over curled. We're fortunate not to remove their own, but main thing was to remove the guard. They did leave one up there though.
Tirinzoni will try and replace that rock.
Nochmal.
Als mir ein bisschen weniger geben, ich brauche weniger.
Schieben wir noch 14,5 Kilo.
So it looks like they're gonna throw up the same guard again.
Drei ist gut, Linie ist gut. 2, 3. Wow, warte. Warte.
Again, as you see on the screen, if you have questions or comments, live at Curling Champions Tour.org. And the guard, just started to overcurl. This one's a little bit longer. It's a little bit longer and maybe curled a little more than the last one. Hard to say. They're looking at running their own back this time, or yeah. So this time they decided to run back the redstone, because if they run the yellow one back and nose, then it'll be free draw for 2. But Sigfridsson has the hammer. Sigfridsson is the one that has to score 2.
Det går ju att dra också om man vill redan nu.
Nej. Alternativet tycker jag är samma som mig en gång till.
Jag tänkte säga
Och se om de
eller en
missar
hack.
garden och kan gå direkt på sten. Det är enda alternativet.
Ja, det är jättebra.
Jag tycker det här är bra.
Ja!
Really working it hard. Swept it right away.
Ja!
Oj, oj, oj. Ja då.
Det ligger ju bra.
Jamming on her own. Guard's still there, but that red one's a little closer.
Okej, jetzt würde ich glaube der Freeze
The yellow. Now what do you do?
Ja. Der ist
Second one is better than the guard sometimes, or just as good.
As I was saying yesterday,
Yesterday?
sometimes
dort hinten.
a
Were you
good
on the air
defense.
yesterday?
Was dran hat.
Yes, I was.
Good defense is a good offense? That's a hockey term.
Ja, ja.
Sort of.
Jetzt wäre es sehr gut.
Man muss 11 Sekunden
You gotta put the puck in the net to score.
Ja, ist gut.
Vorteil von dem ist, sie können so spielen, genau gleich.
Dann hat sie noch den Runback für 2.
So she
Ja, ist gut, machen wir gar nicht.
would like to either steal or at minimum force Sweden to only take one.
Wo willst du dich?
I think she's gonna
Wahrscheinlich
try and
weit vorne,
freeze
sonst übergärlet sie.
down to her own.
Ja,
Einer aussen, gell? Sie müssen ja aussen drehen.
genau.
Ein bisschen weniger können.
But maybe playing the
Silvano!
guard, playing it from
Silvano!
the out-turn side, so it's got to over-curl. I guess they played a few times down that path. so
Der
you
hat
kinda
sie
know
dann
how
auch
to-
noch.
Ja, aber der ist schwieriger.
Ich glaube
Oder?
auch.
Ja, ist gut.
Marlon just said that's a possibility too, but
Nicht Frühling.
I'd like to hear those calls a little earlier. Not when the skip's already going down the throw.
Ja, ja.
So you could have thrown out-turn, draw the guard up, that red race.
Zwei. Drei. Warte. Warte. Zwei. Bis 3. Schluss. 3. Gerle genug. Gerle genug.
Wie nah ist er?
Gerle genug.
Mitte. Mitte.
Gar nicht. Gar nicht.
Das hat
Gar
nicht
nicht.
Gerle.
So basically here throwing up a guard on the stone that
Ja,
Sweden
det
would
känns som
have
att det
used.
nästan går utifrån också. Jag vet inte om
She
det
took the
raise.
raise away, I think,
Yeah.
because she's covered the outside of that rock.
Då ska
I'm
du
not
spela
sure
med
if
hur
there's
du
den också.
an intern.
Där känns... Den
think
ser
the
jävligt
intern
bra ut,
is
men
still
det curlar
there.
så satans mycket där.
Tangeringen är inte aktuell.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Nej,
for
då är
3.
jag hellre mjuk här. Jag tycker vi ska dra för
And of
0.
course we know
Said,
we don't need the 3.
yeah, but the hole's a little tight though.
Mm-hmm.
It's makeable though. It's quite. And you might, I don't know if you got the weight to drive it out enough.
Gå för 2, ja.
Has to get it out of the 8 foot.
Får det inte gå här? Då är vi helt inne på 4.
Sigfridsson always
Det curlar så pass bra att vi kan spela.
animated and determined.
Oh yeah, they're a tough team.
Nej, jag tror inte. Då ska du spela. Men där kan du göra
Looks
det.
like either way you got a shot at it, but it's a weight control shot.
Got the whole team looking at it right now.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of cash on the line here because
700 francs.
it's been 2 carryovers.
Jag tycker vi ska dra. Okej. Eller
This
möjligtvis.
would mean 2 carryovers. She doesn't make this. Yeah. No, no, it's Tirinzoni steals. She takes the 700.
Jag tycker vi har...
So I guess she's got a possibility to outdraw it to force the carryover.
Tycker jag. Vi är så
And
himla
then
på
of
den.
course,
Do you take the chance?
Yeah.
Go for it all.
and you lose the hammer.
Yeah. Hammer switches automatically every end.
Jag tycker att det
An email here from
jag tycker att det är kanske en
Hollywood, the Bond girls. Thanks, Marissa. Nice to hear from you. Woke up very early, I think. I don't know, what time is it in Hollywood?
Maggans var ju 70 som bara var 12 där.
I don't think, do they usually get up that early in Hollywood? I thought they don't get up till 2 in the afternoon or something like that. Or just in time for the
Wow,
evening
it
parties.
is.
and
Yeah, I was
drinks.
going to say, it's probably just never went to bed.
Ja, skippa
Another question here, do they usually show skins games, or do they usually have skins games at these competitions? I believe this is the only
Vi
one.
bestämmer att spela på 50.
They've been, the Women's Masters has been doing this for 5 years. And it's become a fan favorite.
Yeah, the only one I can think of in Canada is Autumn Gold.
Do they do
In
a skins
Calgary,
tournament?
they do a skin similar to this, is just to give the
Egentligen inte,
A
men du kan få lite mer.
qualifier
50.
It draws some
them-
fans too, because
get them on the ice,
they really
yeah.
like it. It's a little different format.
Ja! 40!
It's funny because for many, many years, I believe the trend was if you won the skins,
Sweeping it
they are
hard.
trying the
They're
intern.
trying to go through that hole. She's all over the guard.
Yeah,
Ooh, almost got lucky there. Anyways, it's a steal of 1 for the Tirinzoni teams.
and a pile of cash.
And that's 700 francs in their bank account. That now makes the game 700 to 300. 700 francs being about 700 Canadian dollars. What's that in American? That's just, I don't know, I have to take a look. How much is the American worth? Is it worth that much?
Is it worth anything? Oh, I didn't say that, did I? Okay, let's see here.
Nee, want niet even zitten wechselen, dat is zo goed. Hij moest naar zich getupfen.
So I've got 700 Swiss francs at $749.70 American.
How much is it? Where's that? Where am I looking? That's almost 1-to-1 too. Eh? It's actually more, right? Swiss franc stronger than American. I guess it has been. Yeah, it is. Well. So I guess Canadians par with the American too. Another steal of 3 with Fleming over Malmy. That game's 6-0 now for the Scottish team.
And Vertova clawing her way back.
And Muirhead, that game is all over. So Muirhead advances to the C final against Hasselberg. That game will be on tonight at 8 o'clock.
Is that not the game you were webcasting?
We will be webcasting that. That's correct. And Roger Golka and Michael Lips will be doing the commentary for that game. So this end is now worth. Tirinzoni gets the hammer. We're now in the 5th end. This end is worth 500 francs. Swiss will be trying to score 2 points. Swedes will be trying to steal or force the Swiss take 1 point, carry over. Sigfridsson. Skip throwing lead rocks. Silver medalist from the last World Championships. Silver medalist from last European Championships. And the winner of this event last year, too. That's right, she's defending champion of the Women's Masters here in Basel.
So as I was saying previously, they have a skins game at the Autumn Gold, and there was a trend there for a while where the winner of the skins wouldn't win any more games in the tournament. So
okay. Nobody wanted to play. Oh no.
Yeah, well that's. I seem to recall that's what it was.
Is that right? Autumn Gold is played in
Calgary.
Calgary, right?
Big women's event there.
Well, I think that's in November, is it? You've seen a number of these teams. The sign of the Swiss teams are heading there sometime. It'll be a little quieter in Switzerland in November. We're all looking forward to that, to trying to freeze down to this rock. I know I'm looking forward to a little quieter time. All work and no play.
So 700 to 300. And Tirinzoni now with the hammer. And she must score. Wow, did that just suddenly pop up, or have I not been looking in the right place all game? The amounts are actually on the
They've
screen.
been on there all the time, Dan. I'm sorry.
Well, I am drinking.
You are drinking. What are you drinking?
Well, we won't mention the brand there.
Huh?
No free advertising.
It's green, whatever it is.
Yeah. It's actually green when you drink it.
Is it? So Tirinzoni will try and drive this back. Esther Neuenschwander, number 2 on this team. Is one of those names you need to have a big shirt for.
And it's also why I'm letting you do the...
Well, working hard to get it past. Does she have it?
Just enough.
Just
and
enough.
A nice roll in
nice,
behind.
Nice little roll in behind, yeah.
Perfect roll.
Jag vet inte om vi kom
I
in
don't
där
think
för
you could hit it better
där.
than that.
She curls a little more, she's got nothing.
Hennes hade ju jätteböj där.
You can outdraw that though. It'll curl nicely here.
Såg jag.
Big curl.
Prova det.
Oh, that's it. Does it curl that much?
Den ligger där. Den ligger i haken.
Does curl a little more away from that board dividing sheets 3 and 4. Floor not being too level here. Maria Wennerström.
Lite.
Den ser jättelång ut.
Höll lite. Bra linje! Bak bra linje!
Vart är vi?
Bak 4!
Ja!
Helst inte!
Nej.
Den är långt bak!
Den är långt bak den här. Men nu.
Tappa mycket men bakom.
Nej.
Swedes always producing solid teams. Quite impressive.
Well,
Although
they've
this
got,
one was a little bit too far.
They've got a good system. You know, they've got coaches, they've got players, they've got
Winter.
winter. Good thing.
Of course, the European Championships will be in Karlstad,
Karlstad.
Sweden. We're all
Now,
looking forward to that.
the story I heard was the A and B will be played at the same time.
Yeah, I think
And
they
the
have two
same-
rinks there, I believe.
Oh, 2 rings. Okay,
Yeah, of
I
course,
meant
yeah.
all.
No, I don't think that's possible, actually. There's so many 40-some men's teams, 40-some
Yeah,
women's
but
teams
they
or something.
play 10 sheets. You could play that in the Savile Center,
Där fram, se bort.
I've never been in the Savile Center.
Oh, that's not.
home of
Fifth,
Martin and
Yeah,
Coe.
that's a fairly new facility, I believe. That was
It's
only
on the
built within the last 10 years, hasn't it?
University of Alberta campus.
Took some courses there. English literature.
And he said that with now he's laughing.
No, really, I did.
Dra med lite stöd. Eller
You
bara
get
dra.
an educated
Den där ligger på
Studied
Commentary.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare guy.
Ja.
70-75.
No, it's a really nice facility. If you go to the upstairs viewing area, you have your 10 sheets of ice on one side, and if you're bored with curling, you can walk over to the other side and watch some tennis.
That wasn't there when I was
Liten dött!
Hej.
Liten dött!
taking courses
Liten
there.
dött bara! Nästan bara där!
Ja, bara där.
Ingen linje!
Dra den ända emot.
Inget för fart.
There we see
Ja,
our
tycker vi måste. Tycker vi det.
quick shot of our cameraman out on the ice.
Ja, bara emot, men ingen mer.
Den är där, den är där. Liten dött.
Without
Det är jag som är fel
those
ut.
guys, you wouldn't get some of the shots that you're getting.
Nice little tap there.
Vill så gärna fram.
I left Edmonton in 1986. So
Vi kan inte kanske avhusen är.
You were gonna say 1886, but
those were heady years there in Edmonton.
Det är bäst.
Gretzky.
Och den är.
The Oilers
mhm.
and the Eskimos were pretty hot too at that time. Warren Moon,
Warren Moon,
Ja.
Kelly.
and everybody's wondering what the hell
City
we're
of
talking
Champions.
about. Warren Moon.
One of the best quarterbacks ever played in the CFL.
And of course, who would have been coming out of Alberta at that time? Pat Ryan? I
Yeah,
believe so.
Furby, Ryan,
I think Ryan.
Lukowicz,
Ryan's Express.
Lukowicz down out of the Calgary.
Dritsa vid fyrhäck. Ja, ja.
Lots of tough teams. Alberta always. It certainly wasn't me.
Slänger! Bort! Slänger! Slänger!
Tonto. Tonto.
Just trying to move that out a bit. Remember, the Swiss have the hammer. Have to score 2 to collect the 500 francs. The Swedes trying to steal. Looks like a little hit and roll possibility here for Sigfridsson.
Vi kommer bara bajta 4 då.
Tror du det räcker där? Vad ska de göra liksom? Jag tycker 20 så att man kan ta en ganska tjock en och vicka. Ja. Så att den inte fastnar. Det spelar ingen roll.
Tack.
Men det är skönt.
20! Spela lite mer fart!
Jag tycker vilken är viktig.
Ja, det är jättemycket luft och jättemycket kall.
Ja, jag tycker inte det kallar jättemycket på de mjuka fart, eller på 20.
Vad vill du ha då? 50? Tack, då får vi lite djupare vikt.
En så här, 40.
Ja. 40. Ja, så fick upp det där bak då också. Det är bra, det är bra. Ja, det är 40 på hennes.
You're better than I am.
What was that?
86 was Ed Lukowicz with Ferguson, Houston, and Sign.
There you go. Of course, they were from the other city. Quite a rivalry between Calgary and Edmonton in those years. I think there still is, but sports was pretty good in Alberta. And
I was off by 2 years. Ryan Fergie
Ryan
was
was
88.
89, that's right.
And Chicoutimi.
So
Curling.
that roll didn't happen, so that leaves a possible hit and roll possibility for Tirinzoni team.
Of course, Chicoutimi being in Lac-Saint-Jean, Quebec. That's curling country if you're from that province. A lot of good curlers coming out of that region.
Doesn't look like it's going to roll. It's going to roll the other way, not the way she wanted. So the Swedes are actually laying shot and have an opportunity to draw behind that.
Ja, den där behöver du inte gå, den kan du gå nära. Men den behöver du gå en bit.
Ja, men bara så vi går inåt. Alltså, jag tänker bara på linjen.
After this end, we'll take a quick look at what's happening in the other games.
Lite hård.
Swedes playing an out-turn draw here, trying to steal in this end.
80 tänkte vi.
The hammer changes automatically every end.
Och den duttar ju en sten. Jag är sugen på mer is, ja. Får vi lösa det. Jag tycker att marginalen är åt 85, bara vi verkligen har is för en sån som vi kanske måste sopa liksom, som böjer mycket.
För att det, var, alltså, det är inte riktigt lika mycket som de första stenarna curlade.
Nej, okej. 80-85 då? 80, ja, det är bra.
Always some information going back and forth between the sweepers and the thrower.
Bra fart!
Curla! Curla! Bara fart!
Everybody wants to be on the same page.
Bara fart!
4-10!
Sweepers going dangerously close to the cameraman there.
Ja, dra om det går
That's how
då.
much curl there is on this ice.
Den är lång.
This looks a little hot.
Sitta.
A little more curl on this side, going away from that divider.
Hade du 70?
And it
So
looks
natural.
like it might have been a little heavy. Certainly a lot more than they wanted to throw, but might even been so much that they're looks like their third shot here. Well, fourth if you count the. Yeah, now they're going to take a look at it. Of course, their shot on the left-hand side. They're looking at the two yellows in the front.
Brian knows everything. Brian also says 86 was Lukowicz. Brian Gray, listening in somewhere.
Somewhere on this planet.
Such a smart guy. Somewhere on this planet, yeah.
Ja. Woher muss er genau? Ganz 4 Fuß. Okay, ist gut. 14,5. Ist immer noch gleich, 14,5, ja.
So they're gonna play the come around. It's like who's gonna get to the button first? That string of rocks all sitting on the center line. Of course, if you you bury, you're going to have to hope that it's in front of the tee line because part of that button will be open.
Question I have, is Brian Gray going to be back for Champri to come and do some commentating with us? Always a good laugh. We certainly like to make fun of those Scots.
The speed here looking a lot better than
Look at this.
a few previous shots. Maybe about half a stone exposed. No? Just about.
Always.
Line was very good.
Brian Gray, smart curling.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
Or
smart curler.
Smart curling. Oh, we do a lot of work with the teams. A lot of good work.
So I can officially tell you that the run by the Finns, Malmi, is officially over.
I believe she lost the first two and then
Yeah,
went on a tear, eh?
and now she didn't get on the scoreboard.
Ran out of gas.
7-0.
Against, she was playing
Fleming.
against Fleming, yes.
I'm sure Fleming is happy that, I believe Fleming played two Scottish teams in a row.
Marginalen
Ja.
är väl lite kort.
Come all the way to Switzerland to play against
Yeah.
Scottish teams.
And in the fifth end, Yagi took a 3 score
Yeah, we'll go through those scores
Yeah.
just after, right after this
right
end.
after this end.
Yeah, we'll see what's happening with the rest of those. Of course, all those teams fighting for their survival in this event.
Bara frys. Helst inte ett drag. Bara frys, men helst inte ett drag.
It looks
Måste
like
vi
they're
klara. Vi får inte döda någonting, det blir
just
jättelätt.
trying to freeze to it, but
It's
this
gonna
may
get a little
bump
bounce.
off. Yeah.
Swiss will be happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
Easily removed.
Easily removed. With that ice.
It's quiet hit. We don't need to break the rocks. We just need to remove them from play, Danny. It is a finesse game.
Well, you know me, growing up as the Manitoba toe tuck with corn brooms
In
and
Quebec.
we didn't even know what 28-second ice was.
You grew up in Quebec, though, right?
I did.
You did.
I grew up in northern Quebec,
Oh,
small mining town called Shefferville. Had 3 sheets of ice and like 3 million curlers. It's like everybody in town curl.
sweeper's not laying a broom to this.
No,
Kind of standing up.
It's
We don't
coming
like
up
to
now.
see that. Got to get a piece of it.
Yeah.
And she did.
oh, if she rolls any further.
So, 2 for a sigh of relief there, seemed.
Yeah,
So, score of 2 for the Swiss. That means they take another 500. And that'll give them a
So
total of
5, 9,
1,200
12.
Swiss francs.
It still doesn't mean they win the game, does it?
No, we now have 600, 1,200 to 3. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
Puts them over top.
Så, sista plan.
There's only 6 more hundred,
6 left.
600 more left. It's been a long day.
Yeah. And there we're getting a magic glimpse of team scrums.
Yeah.
Oh,
They just said, let's make sure the 600 bucks is ours. We got the hammer. Let's make our 2. Tirinzoni will be trying to steal that 600.
Ikke så høy ganske.
Ja, maar mussen. Dann muss man
That's a
manchmal weg, so einfach ist es.
900 franc lead.
Wenn du etwas willst, bist du noch ein Bulle, aber das nehme ich in
course you
Kauf. Ja, das nehme ich in Kauf.
I think, believe some of the big skins, the before the was the skins games in Canada, the big ones.
It used to be the TSN.
The TSN, is that still on?
I don't know. I've been
That was for big,
Canada
big money.
too
That
long.
was, I think, that was big money.
I mean, the last skins game I think I saw was the one where Martin
Murdoch.
Martin threw away $15,000 so he could keep the hammer against Mid-Off.
Okay.
Just threw the stone away. It's been
They were playing for big money.
yeah.
So, if we can go through we're into the last final end here of the skins game. 600 francs on the line. Tirinzoni leading with 1,200 francs to Sigfridsson 300. So Sigfridsson took the first two skins and haven't taken anything after that. We're here with the Curling Champions Tour Women's Masters from Basel, live on Lowell 1 TV. I'm here with Dan Raphael. My name is Armin Harder. Tonight we'll have one more draw on at 8 o'clock. And if we go through the scores, please, quickly, Martin, we can let you know.
Martin gave us the nod.
He did. He gave us the nod. Okay, he's the boss. So he. So Fleming beats up on Malmi. That Finnish team lost the first two games and went on a tear. All to come to a quick end here. Fleming now moves to the C final. Okay, 7-0. Thank you. Andreas Schopp fighting it out here with Gurtov from Russia. That's the third Russian team. Two Russian teams have qualified already. And Steele won in the sixth. Schopp still leads at 5-4 though. And that's our skins game. And here's a big matchup. Miri Mott, world champion, playing against Michel Yaki from Bern. Yaki makes a 3 in the fifth to take a 5-3 lead. The winner of that will face Fleming in the C final. Sigfridsson here going down fairly quickly to Eve Muirhead. Muirhead, the European champion. Muirhead will be facing Hasselberg in the C final, and that'll be the game that we will be bringing to you tonight at 8 o'clock. So we hope you'll look in, see that. And tomorrow we'll be doing 3 games, one from the quarter, one from the semi, and of course the final of the Women's Masters here in Basel. Quarter finalists so far are Sidorova of Russia. These two teams here, Sigfridsson and Tirinzoni. And then we have Sarkova, another Russian team. And Devers of Scotland. So those are the 5 teams qualified, and tonight there'll be 3 more qualified. Right now we have a Hasselberg-Muirhead matchup. Fleming will take the winner of Yaki Ott, and Felcher, Swiss team, will take the winner of between Schopp and Gurtov. So tonight, all important games. See who qualifies here at the Women's Masters.
And Armin and I will not be here to see it.
No, I've had a long day. I'll be watching it on Ola 1 TV. I'll be listening to Michael Lips and Roger Golka. Looking forward to their commentary.
Nice come around there.
Yeah, takes one out. Remember, the Swedes have the hammer here. It's all for the rest of the money, 600 francs.
Ja, nästan gör det va?
Ja. Ingen dött då helst.
Okej.
Bara frys.
It's kind of fun to do this, as opposed to a regular game.
Det är 72 på båda. Ska det vara 75 så vi är säkra på att
Great organizing committee here with the Women's Masters. They started this about 5 years ago. Manuela, Korman Netzer is the organizing president. Manuela, of course, a very good, successful Swiss curler in her own right.
Linje! 8!
Nej, ingen dött. Ingen dött.
Det är frys!
Bara frys.
This tournament started
Nej, bara frys.
by her
Frys,
and
ingen dött. Frys, ingen dött.
Tirinzoni.
Ingen dött.
Ja, den är tyvärr
Looks
lite
like
Nice shot
it was a
there.
little more weight than they wanted, but
You can drive that yellow one back onto that red one now. Little tap, set up a steal. Everything's in front of the tee line. They're center guard, so the Swiss have a fairly useful situation going on here.
Ja.
What is that green stuff?
Fast klir. Niet tussen.
so we remind you, this is the final end. Only 6 ends in the skins. Looks good. Angle's good. Oh, might have been a hair thin, but worked out anyway. Pushed the 2 reds out into the open
för långt ner den. Härifrån ser det där bra ut.
and leave
Hela
left
på
the
fyra.
yellow
Ska inte ta bort deras
partially buried.
Jag tycker att den här sidan är farligare.
Good question here. What happens if
Samma som förra, fart ungefär då.
Japp.
Topp
I don't know
fyra.
what they do? That's a good question. What's it say in the rule? There's a question here from a viewer. What happens if there's no skin in this game, in this last end? Check the rules quick.
Försiktigt!
Dan, you know the answer right off the top, don't you?
I know what happens normally. I don't know what happens here.
Skin
Normally
in the
they
6th end cannot be taken by team. Draw
Normally
to the
it's draw
button
to
will
the button.
decide.
Yes,
Thanks.
by 1 player.
By one player.
Mitt på fyra,
Okay.
mitt på fyra, okej.
Mitt på fyra!
Riktigt då! Hårt!
Thanks to our viewer from Winter Tour Switzerland.
Bra Maria.
Gud vad den satte
Ja,
sig.
den var... Tyckte den var lugn. Och nästan redan var för lång ett tag. Bra spel Maria. Härligt.
I knew there'd be a tough question come at some time.
Totaldöva. Ja, den där så han ser både liksom på en sten på en sten.
So
Alltså,
we got a setup here. What's the Swiss going to do here? Maybe slide one in there? Kind of
där ser vi ju 80 av så att den
Probably
try and
just
get
gonna
between
try
that
and
hole.
Bra spel Maria.
bra där.
maybe just push. I
Yeah.
think it's one of those where you can just throw it down that one line and have about 5 different things happen.
Let's listen into what they have to say.
Det är ganska bra. Jag borde kunna vara lite smartare nu så.
Det känns ju nästan som att vi har råd att öppna om det skulle vara så mycket sten i bo liksom.
Ja, behövs det så tycker jag definitivt vi ska göra det. Så, kör en T-line.
Ja, naast u T-line. Ja, ja, stimmt.
Altså, vi langs
So we're
hånden, så
trying to
ringer
listen
det.
in,
Not
trying to
T-line.
get the, wow,
Altså,
I
fire-
all
didn't,
kinds
didn't
of,
quite hear their conversation.
picture in picture, but no conversation.
Swiss German. She just got to try and squeeze through that hole there, I guess. Huh? Kind of jiggle it in there. She wants to steal.
Sax!
Arlen Albrecht.
Well, it's like I said, they can throw it down this line. I think they can get about 3 or 4 favorable results.
Well, they got to go hard to get. You don't want to rub on that guard.
No, it looks like they're
He's
on
all over it.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help that situation. She covered it up on the other, that raise on the yellow on the other side too by hitting that guard. Took away that. Not a very good shot from Marlon.
That was probably one of the results that were not favorable.
She covered up that raised tap on the left-hand side too by moving that guard.
Jag skulle vilja se till att jag har något att spela på utifall de tickar in sin gula.
Ja, det är när de har.
Ja.
Oh, here we go, another team meeting.
Annars skulle man kunna tänka sig bara lägga en gard.
Ja, ganska nära. För skulle de peta in den kan man ju skicka egen. Kan man inte lika gärna lägga den här då?
I can hear the Swedes, but I can't translate what they're saying.
Ja, lite så känns det som.
Korkat och...
Eller trycka den där lite
Inte säga det
grann.
korkat och gå i ganska snett då. Nästan.
Eller bara trycka, alltså, trycka den så att den är i vägen.
Can you throw the
Och lägga
translator
här.
switch?
Ja, för då får de bara ut.
They have that on Star Trek.
För de ser
Alltså optimalt är att trycka den i en sten, då har de ju inte den. Och blir den lite för lång har vi ju en jäkligt kort skjut här då. Och se ett skaft av sin
jag tycker
egen.
nästan att vi ska ta lite lite kortare.
So a little bit of a
än sten.
discussion here.
Ja, precis.
Playing for the last skin,
Samma
600
fart från Maria
Swiss
ungefär.
francs.
Frysningen, marginalen va?
Va?
He
Marginalen
was
är
a
bara mot
universal
va?
translator, just like on Star Trek.
Jag tror det är
Need
bra
to call
fart.
Uhura for that.
Huh?
Need to call Uhura for that.
Oh, okay.
Marginalen var...
Uhura.
Uhura.
Jag tror verkligen 85.
So, we'll see what they decided. Not sure what they're attempting here. They don't want to move too much of these red ones
No.
around.
Don't want to give a pocket,
I think it's more of a case of just
blocking up that hole.
blocking that hole and making it difficult for them to run it back. Guys is really swinging now.
Nej, inte på linje heller.
I mean, this is over curling also.
Skrek du åt då? Trycker en dryg sten.
Maybe a little rub off.
Well, it didn't change much, did it?
It did push them in for block off the out intern tap on the yellow. That's gone.
Kind of get a rocket position there. You can rattle one in between there and drive it back onto the, move those two red ones to the side and drive it right back onto the red one.
They've never really come up with a name for that shot, did they?
The rattle.
Rattle and roll.
Rattle and,
You heard it here first.
yeah.
The rattle and roll.
Just
I'm sure.
touch the inside of both of those red rocks and go straight back. Although that hole might be big enough to get to
I'm
go
sure
right
our
through.
friend Vic Router will come up with a name for that.
He's the guy.
He's
to
the
do it.
man.
Marlon Ulbrich trying to correct the error she made in the last rock. Sweepers are working it. Yes off.
Yeah.
Yes off. Sounds good.
The sweepers have to stay close here.
Oh, they let it
Well,
go.
one of the sweepers
They
was
made a
like
mistake.
just too far away and
Wow.
just couldn't get back into the play. It's probably the worst
That was
thing.
a line error.
Tirinzoni there, none too happy with the sweepers.
Vi behöver ju ha väldigt mycket dit det går utan att det blir bara. Exakt, mycket is nu. Ska vi ta
Yep. Stay with it. Don't go on vacation.
Bara vara där.
Ja, men...
That sure doesn't help the confidence of that player either.
Vad gaddar vi? Gaddar vi skotten?
I'm sure they're not going to
Ja, den
let
här.
anything that happens in this game carry over into the rest of the tournament.
Well, they do have a 1,200 franc lead, or a 900 franc lead.
Okej.
Helst det, inte lägga
1,200
kortare
francs
än,
in total.
båda.
Nice little bonus.
Då behöver vi också mycket is, för då hinner den ju köra.
Steaks and wine.
90?
They'll be doing that after the game. They have
They won't be doing it tonight, that's
three
for
more
sure.
games tomorrow. That's a
Yeah,
long, hard road.
3 games and probably travel.
Känns lite lång. Det här är 10!
Yeah.
Den är längre ut.
For some of these teams, it's a long way.
80!
Swedes probably just trying to plug that hole again. This is over curling too, I think.
Just a hair. Not bad.
Not bad. So the Swiss in a bit of trouble here if they want to steal this. It's not looking very good. They got to get one in there. There is a hole there, though. It does curl a lot.
Well, the way the other ones have been curling, but
yeah, we just want you can skin off that red one on the left, the one that she's pointing on, and maybe roll in. But that still leaves the Swedes looking at 2. Maybe drive that center red one back into the pack and hope you pick up a few on the way. Time for a bullet. Yeah, but
well, there is an in-off on the yellow on the right-hand side, but I think that's maybe a last resort
I don't know
right now.
If you get it enough to move that red one out of the... Oh, that one too, yeah. Well, let's listen in here.
Well, the angle there is perfect, but as I mentioned earlier...
Also den hätten wir auch noch sonst, aber...
I think that keep that as the last resort, maybe.
Well, this is the thing. It's like I mentioned earlier. You only get one shot at those.
Also über der
She misses it, it'll be gone.
Ja, und der?
Also mit dem könnten wir Schott werden, aber...
Ja.
Ist recht flach.
It is the easier shot. If she makes it, then she's in real good shape.
Problem is if she tries something else and doesn't make that shot, I'm sure the Swedes won't let her play that one.
No matter what, it'll probably be gone on the next one.
Ja, das Problem ist, ich gehe nachher da drauf.
Aha, ja.
And the angle is perfect. Like it's just steep enough.
Ich habe mir gedacht, so quasi gerade.
Listen in a bit, see what they say.
Und der?
Was und dann den? Und dann liegt man dort als Gard.
Das ist dann einmal unsere Eignung.
Ja, schon, aber
Das
machst du
habe ich
noch etwas
gedacht.
mit der?
Ich bin nicht sicher.
Ja, jetzt kannst du nicht sicher noch spielen, dann geht es vielleicht nicht mehr.
Ja, die Frage, weißt du, wenn wir da etwas aufmachen, muss sie da etwas machen. Aber ich meine...
Translation?
Well, you figure if they don't play that yellow on the other side, you may not get another chance. But take the guard away, that'll give her maybe another option.
Ja, also ich glaube, wir können den nicht machen. Weil wenn der nicht kommt, dann haben wir gar nichts mehr,
Ja, das stimmt auch wieder.
Also müssen wir irgendwie so.
Ja, und was machst
Also
du
ich
mit
würde
dem?
so, dass wir den verwutschen.
No, she's
Also
looking
fast
about
gerade.
driving that red
Fast
one
gerade,
back
ja.
into the pack,
Oder?
like I
Dann
said
geht das auch so. Also.
Ja.
earlier. You come at it with some heat, you might be able to move them around a bit.
Ja, mal, ich finde ihn gut.
Ja, ja.
Innerhalb. Oder
Thing
nein,
is,
schnell.
This might be a fun shot to try anyway. So
Lass mal eins, gell?
just drive that a lot of heat back.
Ja, ist gut.
Maybe you can move something
Wow.
around. Give you 2 options maybe, or an option with your last one.
Das ist gut. Machen wir den.
Yeah, that would not be the option. So I think she's trying to drive that red guard back into the pack. Tirinzoni, first rock here in the last end.
Achterhoud!
Not that hard.
Sneller!
Got to come up a bit.
Fast!
There it goes.
Gut.
Well, she's laying second shot.
Which is not bad because she still has the in off. And she's opened up quite a bit of that middle.
And she has her own rock out in front now.
Exactly.
So it'll leave her some option with her last one.
Ja,
vi kan dra.
Swedes have the hammer. They want to make 2 points to collect the last 600 francs in this skin.
Ja, det går ju på
Which only goes to show why they're on the ice and we're sitting in these chairs. They know more than we do.
Typ bara bakkant och skava in liksom.
Risken är att det inte
So
blir
now,
andra sten.
Sweden
Försöka styra in, va?
Ja, på en,
can't cover everything.
en vanlig dragfart.
Vilken is vi ska
Vi räknar med att gå
She
fri, va?
can draw around
Eller
that
vill
and
du
draw
raka
another
den?
one in
Eller
there.
ska vi spela en bakhand och gå tunt? Ja, lite drygt 10.
There's enough
Så
room
försöker
to
vi ta
draw
så tunt
around
som
that.
möjligt här. Lite drygt 10 fart. Vi vill ju helst inte öppna så mycket för dem.
Nu måste vi ta rejält.
What you do?
Inte riktigt lika mycket innan den kommer upp på linan, va?
I princip 10 fart, lite dryg bara.
Borde ju i stort sett gå i arenadraget, va? I
I
stort
think
sett borde
that's
vi
what
komma
they're doing. They're trying to draw around that yellow
Det var 85 då.
guard
Ja.
into
Ett
the
bra
forefront.
alternativ också att trycka den där rakt.
Nej, jag var inne på den. Då måste vi gå från...
Haven't
Fundera
decided
vilken
yet.
hand vi ska gå då. Ser lite klurigt
Ja.
ut.
Det är lätt att gå på innan, va?
Nej, spela den där dragningen.
80. Eller?
Vi får
Ja,
lita på
lite till här i.
att det är lätt här, va? Jag skulle kunna tänka mig åt 75 om något.
75 tror jag faktiskt.
Gärna!
Ja, helst inte, men det är okej.
Måste!
Ja,
Sweeper's working it,
8-4!
waiting for it to make its turn.
4!
Trying to get past the yellow. And they do. Right into the forefoot. Nice shot.
Good looking shot.
snyggt.
Now we'll probably see the in off.
Raise double.
Ja. Det var synd om han glitchnär skulle.
She just played
She
that.
did play it on her first one, so you always want to try and play same shot twice.
So she'll want to. Well, even if she only takes one, it'll be hard for the Swedes to make two, maybe.
Schafft der Hauptsieg.
As long as
Swedes need to make two to get 600 francs,
or we will have
or we'll have a draw to the button.
draw to the button. I think the key here is even if she doesn't make the double, she's got to leave that raised rock in play on top of the forefoot.
Yeah. Tirinzoni, last rock in the Skins game. Qualified for the quarterfinals tomorrow.
Whoa! Whoa! Fish! Fish!
Looks good.
Oh, she got a no.
No, left him the two.
Nothing.
She won't even have to throw.
Little bad luck there.
Yeah.
600 francs to the Swedes gives them a total score of 900. So 1,200 to 900, almost evenly matched here. Both teams will be happy for a little bit of extra cash. Tomorrow, they'll be going into the quarterfinals, trying to win the big money here at the Women's Masters in Basel. Curling Champions Tour live on Lola 1 TV. We just saw a matchup between Sigfridsson of Sweden against Tirinzoni of Switzerland. Maybe we can take a look at what's happening on the other sheets, Martin, before we sign off. I got a thumbs up. There we go. Fleming, Melmy. Fleming going to the C final. Still waiting for the Yaki Ott. And Schopp takes one in the eighth to also go to the C final, and she'll be facing Felcher in that C final tonight at 8 o'clock. We saw these two teams qualified for tomorrow already, and now big match here. Miriam Ott against Big three in the fifth and two steals, consecutive steals in the sixth and seventh give Yaki a 7-3 lead. Of course, these teams fighting for points. And in the picture there, we see Manuela Netzer, the organizing president, helping out with the Ott team. Sigfridsson losing to Muirhead 7-1. So Muirhead will be facing Hasselborg, and Fleming will be facing the winner of the Yaki-Ott game. Those will be the 3 games tonight. The feature game will be Hasselborg against Muirhead. Are we going to follow that Ott-Yaki game to its conclusion, or? I think it's pretty well. If you like, you're the boss. We'll follow that game to its conclusion.
Martin signaling to the cameraman that he has to stay out there a bit longer.
Cameraman stays out there a little longer. He'll be frozen there for the rest of the week. We'll have to get that scraper.
We apologize for. I'm assuming everybody was hearing that noise. It was. I think it was the portable mics being taken off by the players. So we'll switch sheets. There we go.
Carmen King. Looks like Carmen Schaefer's missing in this game. The regular third from Mary Mott. Don't know what's happened there. She played earlier. Manuela Corman jumping in. Of course, these teams are all fighting for points for the Swiss curling ranking system. Ott having a very useful big lead there. But, Yaki Tirinzoni trying to close that gap. So if Ott doesn't qualify here, those 2 teams can make up some points on her.
Nice come around hit there. Yeah, looks like Ott will be needing a pile.
He's going to make 4.
Yeah.
And quickly running out of rocks. So this game will be over fairly quickly. Plus we got a couple of misses. Janine Greiner usually plays lead. Boy, they mixed up this team quite a bit here.
But again, just to show you the importance of Carmen Schaefer to this team, not to put down anything the alternate player has done, but team chemistry.
Well, Corman's played with this team before. Has gone spare with his team to the Olympics. So, and Carmen, Manuela Corman Netzer has also been Swiss champion as a skip in her own right.
So this could be the last stone.
Yaki team chasing Ott to qualify for those Olympic trials.
And we have a successful takeout.
And that's shake hands. So Yaki qualifies for that last well, she doesn't qualify. She now goes in. Yes, she does. Eh? No, wait. Hang on. Yeah, Yaki now plays against Fleming tonight. 8 o'clock. So our 3C finals are all set to go. Tonight at 8 o'clock. Hopefully you would join us here with the Women's Masters. That's in about just under 2 hours' time.
That was a quick update.
And we'll come back to you.
There's a
coverage
visual of this beautiful facility and the lonely camera guy.
It's usually the lonely ice maker out there, but that's the camera guy. So tonight, Roderick Golka and Michael Lips will do the play-by-play.
In 1 hour and 52 minutes.
1 hour and 52 minutes. We hope you join us. We hope you enjoyed the skins game here from the Women's Masters. Thank you very much. See you
Good
later.
job,
Thanks, Dan.
Armin.